What is exactly with the name YAP?
So we are an international PR agency that helps crypto companies tell their stories.
How do you work towards building a narrative for the project out there to the open world?
So you kind of need to tell a really compelling story, ensure that your narrative is relevant.
So what do you have in mind before you reach out to the audience?
We always ask for what's the news hook, what's the news peg, because it needs to be newsworthy. Now, what does it mean to be newsworthy? Well, is it, adding value to the industry? Is it fresh?
Hello everyone, this is Sudeep from CoinGabbar. I am reporting live from Token2049. Joined by me is Samantha from YAP Global. So, Samantha, you have been a journalist in your earlier life. Pivoted to crypto from the PR side, public relations side. What is exactly with the name YAP?
Yes. So YAP Global, it stands for Your Angle Presented Globally. So we are an international PR agency that helps crypto companies tell their stories. And we've been doing this for 8 years.
That's right. So, how's been your experience with the Web3 world?
Yeah.
Is it any different from the is it any different from the PR work that we do in Web2? Or is it all the same? Because, Web3, we are dominated by communities, which are retail.
Yeah.
And in Web2, we have a select target audience. Web3, it is more globalized. So PR agencies are not just promoting the project within the community.
Yep.
They are also instrumental in onboarding more community. Working towards reduction.
They are, yes. So I'll just take a step back. I used to be a journalist and a reporter. And so, covering current affairs globally. And then in 2017, I got introduced to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And that's when I was really fascinated by how Bitcoin, as a peer-to-peer payment system that's not owned by any central authority, can transform the future of money. Now, back then, it was still early days. Bitcoin had a negative stigma. It was often associated with scams and greed and gambling. And, we've seen a few cycles. And the dark web, yes, the Silk Road. And so we've seen a few cycles, but I think now we're at a time where the industry is growing up and people are realizing that the original intention of Bitcoin to transform the future of money is happening right now. And so, that's kind of why I, started YAP Global and why I'm in this. Now, I'm not a technical person. I don't have a financial background, but I'm a really good communicator, and I write stories.
How is your field, right?
Yeah, but I realized that a lot of crypto founders and leaders need help telling their story because, as you said, it's very complicated and we need to onboard more people to the industry. But you need to first establish trust and credibility before you get people to download the app or to even create a wallet. And, that's kind of...
So, coming from the media side and understanding, I have always seen this thing that best of the projects don't make it to the market because they could not tell their narrative. And even some projects which are not so good, who were able to set up a narrative, actually did well. So when as a PR agency you work towards this, how do you work towards building a narrative for the project out there to the open world?
Yeah, so there's this myth, right, that tech founders say is build the tech and they will come. But actually, you have to build the tech and then talk about it and tell your story and then they will come because the space is really noisy. We're here sitting and talking at Token2049, but you just look outside and there's so many different companies, so many different booths. How do you filter? How do you filter out the noise? So you kind of need to tell a really compelling story, ensure that your narrative is relevant, making sure that it's timely. There's one of the common themes of this year and this conference is stablecoin adoption and stablecoin development. So if you are building something around stablecoins or interacting or integrating it, then I would lean in on that trend and then, have your narrative right on that. So really it's telling your story and making sure that it's relevant at the current time.
So, if we say your approach to storytelling, what exactly, when you tell a story to the customers, it is basically to the community. It's basically with the perspective that the community is listening and you target a particular community, right? So, what kind of, purely from a media perspective, because we belong to the same genre, right, of the industry. So, what do you have in mind before you reach out to the audience?
Yeah. So firstly, we have to think what is the journalist's job? The journalist's job is to report and tell the news and tell the story that's current and timely at that time. And so I always tell my team, and when we work on a press release and we work with clients, we always ask for what's the news hook, what's the news peg, because it needs to be newsworthy. Now, what does it mean to be newsworthy? Well, is it, adding value to the industry? Is it fresh? Has it been done before? Is it relevant to the current times? For example, wouldn't really be writing about NFTs at the current time because there's a lot of talk about stablecoins. So you need to read the news, you need to understand the news cycle, and then make sure you find your news hook. And so before we approach and we pitch journalists, we find that news hook, and then that's often what gets their attention and helps us tell our client stories and elevate them better.
So you have a lot of clients and you're working in this industry for close to 8 years. Is there a shift in the type of projects coming in the industry?
Yeah.
Like, I clearly see that there was, a cycle of meme tokens. Now, more real-life utility projects are coming up. More Web2 connected projects are shifting to Web3. So, being in the industry, having dealt with so many clients, what is your perspective on that?
Yeah, so I can just share. Some of our clients include, we support Coinbase and their APAC mandate. We also support, more technical projects like Lido Finance, the largest staking provider in this space. And so we deal with a bit more of the financial protocols and financial projects. And so what we're seeing now is actually a bridge between traditional financial companies trying to offer products in the crypto industry, in the digital asset space, combined with decentralized finance protocols also wanting to bridge to fintech, to bridge to the traditional financial world. So we're seeing a shift in those types of clients. We're also seeing a shift in what they're looking for. So it used to be that, crypto protocols and DeFi protocols wanted to get in front of the crypto native crowd. So that was like pitching to crypto media, crypto podcasts, because actually at the end of the day, the crypto community are the ones that are gonna download their app, engage with it, swap, trade, whatever. But now it's the other way around. So it's they want to get on Bloomberg, CNBC, the mainstream financial press to build that trust and credibility so that they can onboard, institutional partners and clients. Because there's lots of talk about institutional money flowing in now. So there needs to be proper infrastructure and frameworks for them to invest. And
also, talking about institutions, a lot of institutions are coming into this ecosystem now, and there are projects which support the shift from this side, or may act as a bridge between the institutions and the actual Web3 ecosystem, a shield, a bridge, or maybe a wall in between. So what is your thought process on the institutions coming to this side? And since you're already working with bigger clients, are there any institutions which are directly coming into the products, Web3 products, or is it just that they want to hold a part of the portfolio?
Yeah. So I was just at a digital asset summit earlier this week run by the Digital Asset Association of Singapore. And I was on a panel talking about real world asset tokenization with, actually there was a representative from DBS, one of the largest banks of Singapore. And he was actually talking about how he was the head of tokenization. He was talking about the work that they've been doing actually on the compliance side and the regulatory side to create the right infrastructure to issue real world assets on the public blockchains. And I was actually quite impressed. I think the crypto industry tends to think that traditional financial institutions don't know what they're doing in crypto because they're not as savvy, but they're more savvy than we like to think. And so what we're seeing is they're actually very innovative and very creative. So they're not just holding assets. That's the baseline. They're issuing bonds. They're issuing like bonds, private equity, treasuries. They're doing quite a bit of that already. Not to mention them eventually probably getting involved with institutional staking. So they are actually integrating a lot with the technology of crypto and seeing how that could make the money work in different ways.
So getting back to the media side, you've worked on both the ends of the world, like Web 2 and Web 3.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the difference between these two in terms of PR, and which field is more challenging to actually encash or capture?
So I like to say, when let's just say Meta, Facebook, and all the Web 2 tech companies, when they were building and growing, it was still very centralized. It was, leadership from the top, and it was one big organization. Now in Web 3, when you're launching a protocol or an application or a project, you can't just lead and make the decisions and everyone follows them. You have a separate community that you need to please and you need to work with, because there's that community element. So I think the community element of Web 3 is the unique part. That's the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, because the community element of Web 3, it enables ownership, it also enables voting power, especially with decentralized autonomous organizations. And it's so I think that with Web 3, the additional element is the community and appeasing the community.
And the challenges?
The challenges? Well, the challenges are, because in a centralized organization, you could just say, hey, this is the direction we're heading in and everyone needs to follow.
You can do newspaper ads, you can run Google ads. I mean, most of the geographies, Google ads for Web3 is banned.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm talking more like, especially with, if you want to change something with the protocol, you want to change, and in terms of, communicating and PR and comms, you almost have to think about how that message comes across with the community. It's not just like one, uniform organization going, oh yeah, we all agree on this one statement. There might be different groups that you need to help communicate as well.
So there are, to my perspective, there are different aspects to both the communities. Here we are dealing more. Earlier in the Web3 industry, we were dealing more with youngsters to onboard them. And now the challenges have changed. Now the challenge is, youngsters already understand this. Now we need senior people who have the money to get into the ecosystem so that we can bring in money to the ecosystem now. So
and that's where, that's where the institutions, private, high net worth individuals,
family houses,
it's good to, we have to continuously educate them about how, why they should trust this industry, but also continuously educate them about how to use it in a, effective and safe way. Yeah.
So guys, this is Samantha we were talking to, and we had a very interesting discussion about how the PR landscape has changed from Web 2 to Web 3, how the transition has been, and how the whole scenario and the paraphernalia of the storytelling is getting changed because of the target crowd that we are talking about these days. So with this, we come to the end of this session. We keep bringing you more interesting stuff in the times to come. Till then, this is Sudeep from CoinGabbar reporting live from Token 2049. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.